Hi, welcome back to Grab a Cup of Knit and Chat. My name's Maggie. Welcome to my little corner of YouTube where I share what I'm knitting and I chat a little bit. Um, Sometimes while I'm knitting, sometimes not. I don't have a whole lot to show you today. It is 12:45, Sunday, January the 5th, 2025. So this is the first knit and chat of the year. So welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you just found me. I'm not a knitwear designer. I'm just a woman who likes to knit, who's trying to learn to spin. I crochet. I do some paper arts. I do cross stitch. I do a little bit of everything. So knit and chat is usually about what I'm knitting, and I'm just chatting about my everyday life. Sometimes I'll knit while I'm chatting, sometimes I'm just showing what I have. It just kind of depends. Right now, I'm probably just going to show what I have, and we'll start with the finished object that I finished. I want to say December 31st, so New Year's Eve. Excuse me while I look. I should have looked at this before. I think I put it on Ravelry in my projects, but I can't be for sure. But I did finish it, I believe, before the new year. I was going to wear it, and then I decided not to. Let's see. Do I have it in here? I do not have it. What? That is one of my goals. I know a lot of people have been talking about goals and stuff for the year. And one of my goals is to put things in Ravelry as a project and update it when I'm finished. So this is the staple top by Hobbies. You start with the back, you pick up on the shoulders, you knit the front. You can't really see the length a little bit. Sorry, you just saw my mess. My craft room is my priority this year. As far as I keep saying I'm going to get it straightened up, but I can't find anything. I've just spent the last 20 minutes looking for something that I know that I own, but I can't find it. So I don't know what's going on. I have a lot of junk, but getting back to the staple, this is the staple top by Hobbies. I did it in, let's see if I can pull up the pattern. I did it in Patton's Croy. It's a linen cotton blend, so it's well, I have some right here. Hang on. Here it is. It's Patton's linen, but it's actually, what does it say it is? 65% cotton, 35% linen. And I can't remember how many of these I used. I think it was 4 of them for this. And the only thing that I did not do, it's the staple linen top by Hobbies. The only thing that I did not do is, you see the pattern on the front is kind of a lace pattern all the way down. That's on the front and the back, and I did not do that. So I love it. I love the Patton's linen. I was going to get some more so that I could do that lace detail, because this one here I made, this is the color Sage. I made this one without that lace detail so that I could wear it to the office. and feel more comfortable about wearing it. I wanted one to wear out and about during the summer, spring, summer, and fall. And I can't find this anymore. So this is a really soft. I'm going to have to find something similar. I think I'm going to look on yarnsubstitution.com and see what's closest to it. I really like it. And I had just about a whole ball left. So with that, we're going to go into a wit, which is my Sophie scarf. I said I wasn't going to make one. I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon. And then I started, my hair is growing out because I had a really short pixie cut that I got early last summer. And I decided to let it start growing back out so that I could get it to where I want it. And it's at that length where it's just so aggravating. It's not long enough to pull up away from my face, but it is long enough to get into my ear, and I hate that. And it kind of gets into my face, and it needs to be trimmed, and it's a whole long story. So I thought I would make a small Sophie scarf out of the rest of it, that would be perfect for me. And then I can use that to use as a headband, because I've seen people using them that way, and I am not going to wear anything tied around my neck. I do good to do some of the cowls. So I'm going to use the rest of it for this. I think I'm going to make a small, but I might wind up making a large. If I make a small and I have enough that I didn't use a whole lot of it, I may decide to make another small and just put it in a gift basket, because I think this year, if I want to make something, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to put it in a basket, and I'm just going to have a gift basket. I know Needles at the Ready said that they do that. They put shawls and things that they don't wear, hats, gloves, scarves, whatever, in a basket, and then on the holidays, whenever people come over, either they just knit them, or they're not wearing them anymore, or they knitted them because they wanted to knit it but they didn't like how they looked on them. They let friends and family just reach in and grab what they want. I think that's going to be a good idea for me. We do a gift exchange at the office every December, and I would rather take things that I knit that I enjoyed knitting and that I like, but I know I'm not going to wear, because I like to wear certain cowls, but I like to knit cowls. I like to knit headbands. I like to knit hats. But there's only so many of them you can wear. Even socks. I love knitting socks. If you've been here for a while, I love knitting socks. And I really, I mean, how many pairs of socks can I own without giving them away? But I got off on a tangent. Welcome, that happens. Grab something to drink. I have my 0 sugar Sprite. Pause, go get a cup of tea, get a cup of coffee, get a cold drink, whatever, because it seems like the first one of the year is going to be a little mouthy. What else have I got? So, talking a little bit more about the staple linen top is, I did knit, I can't remember what size I knit. It is fairly size inclusive. It goes from a 28-inch bust to a 68-inch bust. And I think I either did the 4X or the 5X, which is the 56-inch bust or the 60-inch bust. It says it's a close-fitting top, so an ease of 0 or slightly negative is recommended. And I probably should have went with a 52. If I look at my pattern and I can decide which one I did, because right here is a little bit loose. And I think if I went one size smaller, that would have been better because of the opening. So the next one that I make is going to be a smaller size than what I did on this one. I'm I could wear a large top, but I have rather large bust. So that means that I have to wear an extra large or a double X large, depending on designers, the cut of the pattern, things like that. So it's kind of hard a little bit for me to decide which one to go with. So I have a 54-inch bust at my widest point, and I think I did the 56, but I think I probably should have done the 52. So next time I'm going to try the 52, and when I join it to work in the round, I can put it on at that point and see how it's fitting because of where it sits. And if it's too tight at that point, then I can add some stitches under the arm where it's not going to be an entire size up. And I think that's what I should have done with this one. But I am happy with it. I can wear it over. I have a couple of little long sleeve tops that I can wear it over in the winter time. I get very hot. You could probably hear my fan going right now. And so I've learned that short sleeve or no sleeve is the way to go for me. So this was an attempt at that. So let's see. What else do I have? I have some notes here. But this is just my January notes. I haven't changed the date on this yet. I need to put a 2025 in here. But I need ink for my printer, so I'm not going to do it yet. Otherwise, it's going to come out with an icky color. Last year, I did like, okay, every month I'm going to do this. And I think I did that for, let's look. I kept up with it through February. That's how long I kept up with my book. I was like, okay, in January, I'm going to work on ornaments for next year. I'm going to work on my miter square blanket, and I'm going to do 3 squares a month. And I'm going to add 3 additions to my jelly roll blanket a month. And I'm going to work a dishcloth and a pot holder and cup wraps and work on my hexies for my beekeeper's quilt. I'm going to do a gnome. I'm going to do 1 child and 1 adult hat. I'm going to do a child and an adult sock. I'm going to do some selfish knitting for me. I'm going to do a flower on my hexie English paper piecing quilt. I'm going to make 5 crosses for my English paper piecing cross quilt plus quilt. And I'm going to make 2 quilt blocks. Guess what? That didn't happen. And it didn't happen the rest of the year either. Oh, I take that back. I went all the way up to March and some on April. April 1st is what it looks like. I did, like, I noted what I did every day. Like, I did a square on January 1st. I wrote down what I worked on, but it wasn't feasible. So this month, I just want to do every month. I wrote down all of my whips that I have starting out January 1st. Right now, I have a cardigan for my dad for his birthday, which is the 15th of January, which I have got to finish, and I will show you. Let me show you that now. So let me tell you a little bit about this cardigan. It's the old fashioned from Maxim Sear at Les Garçons on Ravelry. Let's see, do I have a. I mean, there's somewhat of a picture of it. It's kind of, like I said, my ink is bad. His sample is red. It's just an open, no button cardigan. Um, Really nice, really simple pattern. I mean, it's an easy to do pattern. It's knits and purls. That's all you're doing. You just do one on one side. It's very simple. It should not be that hard for me, honestly. And it's not a hard pattern. But for some reason, it's just, I don't know. Oh, let's see. I worked on the body. I've got it all joined in the round, or not in the round, but for me to do, maybe it's easier if I just go to my favorites and look at sweaters to make. If you find me on Ravelry, I have bundles that I've started where I put everything in sweaters to make, sweaters I've made, cows to make, cows I've made, hats to make, hats I've made, socks to make, socks I've made, that kind of thing, so that I can keep up with everything easier, because I was getting really irritated with a lot of my stuff being lost in my Ravelry library, and I lose so many things, and I go to buy a pattern and I already have the pattern, and it's kind of irritating. Come on, where is it? Please tell me I have it. Okay. I apparently don't have it in my store either, so let's. Is it in this one? I know, I'm bad. Maybe it's just under his. I never know where to find his patterns because sometimes I'm not going to be able to find it. Not, you don't want to see me scrolling on my phone trying to find a better picture of the pattern. So this is a simple cardigan for a guy. The design is by Maxim Sear. I must have bought it from him himself and not on Ravelry. I got it down to the sleeves. I'm working back and forth like everybody else. I got a little bored with just working the body. I said, okay, I'm going to work one of the sleeves. I worked about that much of a sleeve, and I had worked the entire increase pattern, and that's how long the sleeve was. And I was like, that is not right. So I look at the pattern again and realize that I was supposed to work different parts in there and then repeat it. So I went back and I redid it, and I started all over again, and I worked it all, and it came out like this. And then it said, now follow this pattern until it's so many inches long. And I did that. And then it said, okay, go down to the smaller size needle and work the cuff. I'm looking for my smaller size needle, and I had done the entire sleeve, in the small size needle that you're supposed to use for the cuff. So I had to rip the sleeve back because I know it wasn't going to fit. I put it on my arm, and I think my arm is probably a little bit larger in the bicep than what my dad's is. He has long arms, but I figured if it fit on me, it'd fit on him. It was a little tight. I was like, no way, because I'm not knitting it out of nice yarn. I mean, I'm knitting it out of nice, soft yarn, but I'm knitting it out of acrylic because he's going to be 80 on his birthday this month. And I want him to be able to, he throws things in the wash machine and then hangs them to dry. So I want him to be able to just throw this in the wash machine and then lay it out to dry and not have to worry about it. I don't want him to have to hand wash anything. So that's my reasoning for that. So now I'm even further behind on this cardigan, and it's done in Aran weight. So it's heavier than what I'm used to because I'm used to using like DK and sock weight yarn. So it's a little heavier, and the whole thing when I'm working on the body is getting heavy. So it's kind of hard for me to work on for long periods of time. But that being said, the called for needle size for the body is an 8, and I'm using a 7 because of the yarn that I'm using to get gauge. And I'm doing the size 6. And this is what I have so far. Right there. I have taken out the sleeve that I've messed up on. I don't have it. It's kind of bunched up on the bottom. I've done the folded collar. Let me get my steam hanger. And see about putting it on the steam hanger so you can see it a little bit better. There you go. So I have probably about 9 inches on the underarm so far, and I need about another 7, I think. I thought about just doing another 9 just to be on the safe side so it comes down lower. It says to knit it to a certain size, like 16 inches before you start the rib, so I may just do that. And then I've got to put the button band on, which it's the open construction. So once you do that button band, it's not really a button band because you're not using buttons. And then I have the sleeves. But it's kind of heavy and it's hard for me to work on, so I've been doing like 30 minutes on it and then putting it down. But because I'm crushed for time now, I need to work on it even more. And that's making me not want to work on it at all. Does that make sense? So that's a whip that came over. I'm just rambling. The next whip that came over is I'm making my partner a pair of socks. That's how much I got done. A whole 10 rounds on a cuff. This is done out of Woolly Mammoth. Oh no, this is not his. This is mine. Whoops. These are my Woolen Nosh Christmas with Les Garçons. I've got a whole 10 rounds. Yep. Woolens and Nosh Christmas with Les Garçons. It's on her Targhee fingering, 90% Targhee, 10% nylon. So these also came into the new year. I grabbed the wrong one. Let's see, is this one his? Because I did bring 2 pairs of socks in with me. Yes, this is it. Again, only 10 rounds on the cuff, honestly. And I just dropped the yarn. So I started these after Christmas because I did the Woolen and Nosh 2024 Advent, and then I started these. This is Woolly Mammoth Hearth Sock in the Patrick sock set. So this is 50% Jacob, 50% BFL, 100% wool from Woolly Mammoth. I'm not very good at this, and the lighting's not great either. Here in Oregon, it has been nothing but rain pretty much all week. Wednesday, which was the first, and yesterday I have not been able to walk at all. In case you didn't know, I'm posting on Instagram. You can find me over there as Crafty Maggie 50. I'm doing a 1,000-mile walk this year from December 29th of 2024 to December 29th of 2025. I think I hit a total of 12 miles today. Yay! Thanks to the rain. So those two came over with me, and I don't have it here because I have it down in my vehicle where we had went for a walk. Had a park earlier. It's a heritage print Cascade yarn heritage print Christmas colorway, and I'm only knitting on those. I'm doing it magic loop one at a time. 64 inch or 64 stitch sock. That's what all these socks are on a US 1. They're all magic loop 64 stitch US 1, and I'm only knitting that while I'm on my walks. So I did put a couple of posts on there that I'm putting a light bulb stitch marker where when I start my walk, or well, I'll start knitting because I already have a light bulb stitch marker in there, and then whenever I end my walk, I'll put a marker so you can see how much I get done for every walk. Another one that I'm doing is my Misurina top. That came over with me as a whip. I haven't touched it, so I'm not going to show it. The last time I showed it is the last time I touched it. That would have been around the beginning of November. I just showed my Sophie scarf, which I actually just started last night. I'm going to make a note of that. My Vivid blanket from Tin Can Knits, that's on Ravelry. I have still 9 blocks done. I started that the 1st of December. I was going to do that as my Advent blanket for December because you needed like 48 blocks to do it. I could do 2 a day. They're not really that hard, but if you're new here or you didn't see me last month at all, I was pretty ill for a couple weeks in December and I didn't get any knitting done. So I'm just bringing that with me because to me, an Advent can be done any time of the year. It does not have to be in December. So that's my New Year Advent. I also had started last month a Crocheted Squares blanket, which is on TL Yarn. I think it's TL Yarn Crafts. She's done where she had mini skeins and she was just making an 8-round crocheted granny square out of the mini skeins, and she had saved them up and she had gotten like 80 out of them and she'd been making them for years, and she finally put it together. And I have a lot of mini skeins because I was doing row 1 minis, So hers are more solid colors, mine are more variegated. But I went through and I made one of those granny squares out of them, and now some solid, some variegated, whatever leftovers I have, I'm adding to those granny squares. I'm still working on my jelly roll blanket. I haven't really gotten anywhere with it. I did finally, because I had started it last January, I finally have one strip. So I've started on the second strip now. I also still have my miter square blanket, which I think I've shown in the last few months, but I'll have to try to show it again. I have been adding to it because I had gotten some buildup on the scraps. It's all scraps, it's all like leftover yarns from socks or tops or whatever. This will probably make it in there. I'm not really concerned about what if it's all superwash or all wool or what, because it's gonna get hand washed anyway and laid out to dry, so I really don't care. I did start a Quadrophenia because these are all scraps that came after. Sorry, my basket's in the way. These are all scraps that I have left over after doing my miter square blanket, but they're big enough. If they're not big enough to do a granny square, or I've already done a granny square, they go in this bag. And the Quadrophenia is by, who is it by? Let's see. It's a black and white print out because of my color issue. Where are we? Who are we by? It doesn't say who it's by. Bakery Bears. So this is black and white. So you've got 4 triangles. So each section you're working and then you're seaming it all together. This is an Advent thing, and you use your minis, so it gives you like, you're gonna work rows 1 and 2 until they said I had 100 some odd stitches, and this is what I had with that one mini skein. They're using 20-gram mini skeins. And then you're going to transition into a new color, and when you finish that color, I had so many stitches, that kind of thing. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm using my scraps, and this is what it looks like so far. So I am kind of picking my scrap colors as I go a little bit, and yes, there's a lot of ends to weave in. But I'm trying to kind of like matchy match in the quadrants, but I'm not going to do that for every quadrant. So this is my first triangle. So this right here will be in the middle. Once it's seamed, it'll have 3 other pieces seamed to it in the middle right there. And then it goes out to the edge. It's going to be scrappy looking, and it's going to be different colors because I have some vibrant colors in here too. So I may have one quadrant that's all vibrant colors. I don't know. I'm just going with what I want to do at the moment that I'm doing it. So I don't know what it's going to wind up looking like. And then I have my English paper piecing that I want to get done. I have what I call a fall hexy English paper piecing blanket that I started in 2023 in September or October of 2023. And I really need to get that finished because it's been a while. I have all the hexies made for it. I just need to sew them all together. And I think what I need to do when I'm doing my English paper piecing is just do like sections. Like, I'm going to do a section like on my plus quilt. So it's little pieces that you put together and it makes a plus sign. And then you sew them all together and they're just kind of sitting with each one. I think with that one, I'm going to do, okay, I want to do 3 rows of 4 pluses in each row. And then just do that section. And then do another section the same size. And so on and so forth. And then I can start putting the sections together. I don't know if that would be more helpful. I think it's probably going to be more harmful because if I do that, then I'm having to hold a bigger section with a smaller section and trying to hand sew them together. So I think what I'm going to do is the ones that I have now, I've actually started adding to them. I think I'm just going to, because I'm actually, as I'm doing them, I'm interlaying them with each other. They're kind of going in a diagonal. I think I'm going to do that until I get it as long or as wide as I want it. And then just start working back down each way. Like working this way and then doing the line up above it until I get it all out. Kind of like a corner to corner, but I'm not really sure. The other thing that I'm doing is I have a cross stitch that I've been working on for 4 years and it needs to get done. It's not that far from being done. I have some others that I'd like to do. So I need to finish that one first. And I'm doing a crochet mood blanket also from TL Yarn Crafts where you're actually doing it's a granny stripe blanket, but you're doing a square and you're doing 1 row every day about your overall mood. And I think that's going to be actually kind of cool. I finally decided to do it. So I started it yesterday. This is kind of a look at it right there. It's like $2 for the pattern. And you go to her blog post and she tells you all the stuff about it. So this has, it's just a sample that she was doing to try to work it out, is what's on the picture. And then she gives more information in the blog post. But I think it's going to be pretty fun. You have colors that you assign to certain moods. And then when you get home for the day, like I work in an office, when I get home and I think about my overall mood for the day, I have like one of them, like January the 1st, not January the 1st. It was the 31st. It was December the 31st. I came home from work and I was so exhausted. I was cold. I was exhausted. I came home. I ate my dinner. I got dressed. I went to bed. I was in bed by 7:30 because I usually don't get home until 7. I work 10-hour days, and then I have to drive an hour to and from work. So after getting off, it's an hour drive, and I ate my dinner, and I got dressed for bed, and I went to bed, and I slept for 9 hours and 45 minutes. So 10 hours. I was so tired. So just like that day, my color is blue. It's a lapis blue, and it's just, that was my exhausted day. Yesterday and Friday, I was bored, indifferent, just blah, didn't care about anything. I have like 3 different, and she does, it's like, oh, 3 different moods for a day. Like blue, I'm going along with hers, but I'm using stash yarn. So mine is a DK weight, she's using fingering weight. And I went along with what she has on her blog post. Like white is hopeful, optimistic, or anticipatory. And anticipation. Blue is exhausted, fatigued, or weary. Light gray is strong and proud. Pink is excited, enthusiastic, fun. So you can associate it with different, like different things. Mine so far is, I'm using a cream color and kind of a orangey yellow. I have to look at mine, but yeah, it's gonna be wild, and you're doing squares, and each square is containing like 3 months worth of moods, so it's kind of cool. And then the Berroco mystery blanket with Pearl Together, I'm doing that one as well. They've already sent out January's squares. So you're knitting blocks every month to put together at the end of the year for a blanket. I've gotten maybe that much done on the first square. January has 2 squares. So I'll try to put links for those. I know I've gotten links for a lot of these together. I'm not really good about putting links in, but I'm going to try this time and let you know. But that's my list of what I'm working on in January already. These are things that I have. They're here. Some of them I haven't touched yet. Some of them I have. These are things that are long languishing whips, or whips that I'm trying to get finished. I need to get finished. However you want to put it, they need to get done. I did start that Sophie scarf. I kept telling myself, you cannot start anything else. You have enough. You cannot start anything else. I have a pair of socks at work in my little chip basket. I have a pair of socks in my bag that I take back and forth to work. It's crazy, and they have like not been touched. Or I even have a Musselboro hat that I have in my vehicle for if I get caught somewhere without a whip or without a project. Have you ever done that? I've gotten caught, like when I was ill in December, I got caught at the doctor's office without anything. And I was like, oh, no, wait, I have a Musselboro hat. So I grabbed that bag out of my vehicle, and I had something to work on at the doctor's office, because I don't care how sick you are, sitting at the doctor's office, waiting on chest x-rays and blood work and breathing treatments and all this other stuff is just irritating without keeping your hands busy. So that is my It's supposed to say 2025. 2025 notebook. I made it to March last year. Let's see how far I make it this year. And let's see how long I can do the Ravelry projects. Hopefully, I can get the Ravelry projects. I don't know if I can or not. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. But it's a start. Excuse me. Right now, that's all I brought to show. I'm not going to work on anything. If you're still here, you've hung in with my babbling for 45 minutes. I'm not going to do everything I knit in 2024. I personally don't like to watch those. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. I just don't like to watch everything you've knit in 2024. You want to brag some more that you got that much knit? That's how I feel about it. But that's me personally. I did watch one the other day because they had put their goal knitting for 2025 in there too. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. I'm not really gonna do a goal knitting theme this year. As I said, I tried that last year with this notebook. I made it to March. And I think I kind of overestimate how much I can do. And I overestimate or I underestimate how much time it's going to take me to do something. Like with my dad's cardigan, I actually started that back in September. And I got it to where I put it all together under the sleeves. I joined under the sleeves and I had started working on the body and it was just hurting my hands so bad. I put it aside and thought, oh, I'll just pick it up here and there. And then I never picked it back up. And now I'm having to struggle to get it done. So I think I don't realize, but out of these projects here, the Hexie blanket, the Quadrophenia blanket, the crochet blanket, the vivid blanket, the mood blanket, the Berroco mystery blanket, the miter square blanket, the jelly roll blanket, those are all the mood blanket and the Berroco blanket are not scrap blankets, but the rest of them are all scrap blankets. So I do not feel pressure to work on those constantly. I do feel pressure when my scraps start adding up because the end of November, I had enough scraps and I was, well, not the end of November, the end of October. I had so many scraps that the majority of them had already gone into several blankets. And I don't like to have, like on the jelly roll, I don't like to have big long sections. I like to have smaller sections of different colors and some longer sections, but I knit on a color until I'm like, nope, this is it. And the same thing with the Quadrophenia blanket. I'm not using every bit of yarn when I knit on that. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't think I used all of these. There's a couple of them. Like this one and this one, there was only little bits left, so I used them all. Same thing with this one. I didn't use all of that one. I think I used all of this one and these others. I think I may have used all of those, but there was more of this one. And I was like, nope, that's good. I'm done. And then it goes into something else. And if there's little pieces left, it goes in my magic knot ball, which I do need to go through. And some people add a little tad of glue to the knots just to be safe. And I think I need to start rolling it out and just adding a little tap of clear glue. But yeah, it's just me. I don't know. I don't have to work on these constantly. There are certain things like Dad's cardigan that I want to work on that I need to get done. I want to get the Sophie scarf done. I want to get the socks done. You know, just different things. But I'm not putting, other than the cardigan, I'm not putting a time limit on anything. Nothing. And I am starting to keep a date on how long something's been on the needles. So I looked it up the other day, and my Misurina top was started around the 1st of November. So it's actually been on the needles for 65 days, 14 hours, and 38 minutes as of right now. So there we go. Not in any hurry. And my Alpine Bloom top, I need to take the hem out of and add some length to and redo it because it's not long enough. Here we go. I went off on another tangent. Sorry about that. I'll try to get everything linked in the bottom, in the description below. And I hardly ever say this, but like, subscribe, set notifications if you want to. If you don't, just keep coming back. Every other week, I try to do a video. I'm trying to get it down every Saturday or every other Saturday or every other Sunday. I would like to try to get more stuff in. I don't know if people like it being mixed up, where I'm talking about cross stitch and spinning and English paper piecing. But you know what? It's my channel. This is my knit and chat. You can knit. You can listen to me ramble. I'm not always knitting, but that doesn't mean that you can't. Share in the comments what you're working on. Tell me what you think. It's all right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stop and smell the roses and do what you want. Do what you like. Do what makes you happy. As long as you're taking care of what needs to be done, have some fun. And I'll see you later.